Let me bring in the guests now. Dr. Suraj Yengde is author of Caste Matters. He joins me from London. Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Yengde, I'm going to begin with you. You have written about structural humiliation and Dalit lives in your book Caste Matters. Can any conversation then on merit in India be honest without first acknowledging this history?
Mariam, it's good to see you again, and thank you for pioneering this debate, especially after 6 December, the day of observance of Dr. Ambedkar's death anniversary. I think the merit itself is a very tricky concept, and it becomes flawed if we do not account to various structural barriers or accountabilities that do not fit into the making of merit. In India, the basic structure that makes up merit is what the society and culture in conjoint prepare us to face, and this is caste. Caste can operate in various ways and various materialities. So when people say it's about merit, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the idea of merit. You know, we need merit. But how do we measure the merit is the problem. We measure merit in a very arbitrary way, in a very discounted fashion. Now we have the examination. We pass exam, like I became a lawyer in India on account of rote learning. Can you imagine? Like, I was doing mugging up and going to exams and giving my exams and then becoming. So is that a metric of one's intelligence? So we have a very flawed system that doesn't account into person's background, creativity, many other factors that make an individual and their contribution to that specific subject topic. And that's why we cannot elaborate a dialogue on merit without really sustaining our attention to what really makes a person worthy of contributing to that specific discourse or knowledge or whatever domain area they work in.
Okay.
We usually assess merit in this context, Mariam, solely account of what kind of names you have, what kind of background you have, what kind of pedigree you have. That's not truly representative of India's vibrant, dynamic and enlarging demography that we.
I have enough time for Dr. Suraj Yengde's the last and final comments. Dr. Yengde, is the resentment against reservation actually resentment against loss of unspoken caste privilege, or do you see genuine policy flaws that need reform?
I think the later, and as well as the previous. I mean, it's not a simple binary that we can draw at this point. But, you know, on the question of, you know, economic mobility, you know, we have to look at, you know, I'd like to draw attention to the 55th National Sample Survey data, you know, is looking at informal, formal sector. You know, I think we are having anxieties about a very tiny percentage of India's labor force capturing certain government-aided institutions or positions that are available. Less than 3% of government formal sector is employed that is eligible to receive reservation. More than 93% in India is informal sector. There's not even reservation there. And of that category, if you see, Oxfam had this report in 2010, which was categorizing according on the economic lines, which are as follows: the extremely poor, the marginal, and the vulnerable. And you know what? Among these four poorest categories, 89% were from Dalit and Adivasi background. And Muslims who work in informal sector were 85%. And let me tell you, the women who were of the lower caste were 95%. So when we make an argument, an economic incentive to this, we are essentially talking about people who are already available. Okay. So the constitutional policy, Mariam, really gives an adherence to the economic disadvantage. It just is sore in the eye because people like Suraj Yengde or Professor Jadhav tend to use that policy that are out there and really make good out of it and shove in the face of those who deny that there is a merit, there is a talent, and there is an availability of pool of data that can really subvert this notion of casteism, where people like us who are now formally dressed and present to yourself, which is not used to the eyes of upper caste, dominant caste people, because they are often used to seeing us carrying the manure or doing manual labor for
I think that's the right note on which, or perhaps a food for thought on which I would like to end this discussion. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor Jadhav, Dr. Yengde, Gaurav and Siddharth. Let's continue this conversation online.